And my Cacao Talk was like ping, 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 and Facebook and Skype was chuk, 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 chuk. And I was like, what? That actually is probably what woke me up. All the bells, because on my phone everything has its own bell. It's like bing, ding, 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 and I was like, what? It's like, yeah, it was crazy. And then I looked at the news and saw that I missed the tsunami by hours, like literally hours. And had I stayed, I would have been there for the tsunami and the earthquake, biggest ever in history. And they lost like 200,000 people. That number just doesn't even sound right coming out of my mouth. 200,000 people are dead and unaccounted for from Japan. Like, that's a really, really, really heart-wrenching fact. And I'm so thankful that I was not there. I'm thankful that there wasn't a question of my safety, because I was safe and sound in Korea despite my complaining. And God is so faithful and so awesome, but I feel like that's all the more responsibility cast on me, that okay, your life was spared, so it's now time to help those people in need. And I want to talk a bit about Japan, as from a Christian standpoint. You know, I used to apologize on my channel, like, oh, this is not a Christian station. But you know what? I'm a Christian, and that therefore makes it a Christian channel. So, I have heard some comments from Koreans that this is what Japan gets. You know, haha, this is our victory. They lost 200,000, we lost however many 100,000 in the war. Blah, 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 blah. My voice is dropping because I'm trying to be careful in what I say as to not offend anyone or sound callous or misunderstanding. Alright, dude, I get the war was vicious. Like, the Japanese, like, tried to annihilate Korea. And when I say that, I don't mean history book, there was a couple bombs dropped. No, they tried to freaking wipe Korea out on so many levels. They destroyed their land, their trees, all of that. They cut down their mountains. You know, Korea is full of mountains. They, like, a lot of the mountaintops look kind of like they want it to be a peak, and then it's like there's no trees or anything there. It's because of the war. They changed their names, their alphabet, like, well, not that, like, their characters still have Japanese influence on them. Even how they spell Korea. Korea originally was spelled with a C. And if you meet old people and they write Korea, they write it with a C. And they put a K there to make it more, I think they said because K comes after J in the alphabet, so they took the C and made it a K, and people still spell it with a K, even though Japan is obviously no longer here. Like, they raped and pillaged, and I don't mean a little bit, like, they really, like, tried to wipe out Korea and make it a second Japan, and make the Japan we know like an island, like a subset of this Japan. So, and this is not one war. Like, Japan repeatedly invaded Korea. So I'm not negating the ugly past, but it's the past nonetheless. It's just like slavery in the U.S. was ugly. I don't care what, like, growing up in the South, you meet a lot of white people that try and justify slavery and make it okay, and, well, there were slaves in Africa. It's not the same. It's not even close to the same. There were Africans who had to say, yeah, it's not the same. It's just not the same. There are black people who had, it is not the same. And, you know, lynching per Willie Lynch letter, that was not done in any other country. Hanging your slaves to instill fear in the heart of other slaves so that they mentally would not be free. You wanted to imprison them mentally so that physically there would be no point in them trying to escape because you've broken them mentally. You've broken their spirit mentally. That is what happened during slavery. Of course, far more aggressive than that, but I'm shrinking it down for the point of this video. And I'm hoping those people who assumed that I was disconnected from slavery or anything like that, clearly that's not the case. Obviously, you don't know me from a 20-minute video. Anyway, I gave that reference because it would be like me punishing every white person ever that I met. Like, oh, slavery, blah, 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 blah. Even though I am of split heritage and my ancestors were free, it doesn't change the fact that it happened. My lineage is not from slavery, but black just the same. By society, per society, I am black just the same. And to know that they did I can understand how some black people are uber angry at white people. I completely understand, especially if they continually study and continually, make that heritage a forefront. It's hard not to have clouded vision. It's really hard, and sometimes I falter still. Like when white people say things, sometimes I'm like, what? So I have to remember that God's grace is colorless and his love for us has no face, no gender. It's just God's love. So I have to remind myself of that. But anyway, so I get that Koreans are hurt. I get it. I totally get it. But I also get that I can't live in the past. I can't punish white people all over the world for them being who they are, because they didn't do it to just black people. Like, yes, they made African slaves, but they went to other countries. They enslaved Asians. There are plenty of, hence the large population of Chinese in Jamaica. They took them there and made them slaves for the sugarcane. So they endured slavery. There were, slaves. They made Europeans slaved and pillaged all over the world. I'm sorry to say, if you're white, your heritage is not that awesome. Like, they slaved and pillaged all over the world. Like, Africa, Asia, anybody who wasn't white, like, oh, let me make you a slave. But my point in the story, because I don't want to get off on that tangent, that's a whole other video. But my point in this is that I get how Koreans feel like that would be like if something terrible happened to Europeans, like the genetic authentic Europeans. Some black people would be like, yes, I saw, and some other countries would be like, yes, I saw, because they have raped and pillaged all over the world. I get it. I get that feeling. However, you cannot live in the past. That is a whole different group of people. The Japanese that I met when I was there were completely open. They loved the fact that I was black. And it wasn't love like, ooh, look at our shiny new monkey, which is kind of how it is here in Korea. Sad to say. Some people are like, ooh, but it's more like the shiny new toy. I'm still not quite human to them. And it's more, again, like, ooh, the animal at the circus. Let's pet it. I get petted. Like, why are you petting me? I'm not an animal. Or, I've shared some of the things that happen here. But in Japan, it was like, hey, how you doing? Where are you from? Can I help you? Like, it really, there was no other ulterior motive, which I always get from Koreans. There's always an ulterior motive. There's no ulterior motive. I was a fellow human being traveling. A lot of it is, though, because they are dark in Japan. Like, when I say dark, I mean dark. Like, Koreans have the attitude of light-skinned black people, whether they are willing to realize that or not. They have many, many similarities. And every now and then you'll catch some full lips or a broad nose if they haven't chopped and screwed their face, which is the thing by 16. But in Japan, they naturally have these beautiful features. They have this gorgeous tan skin. Like, they look Blasian. Some of them are Blasian, but Everybody looks Blasian, even the old people. Like, they look like old black people on the corner. And I just was completely floored. The men, like I said, I'll do a different video about that. But that was not the generation of people that I could ever see saying, come on, let's get some boats. It was a completely different group of people. Just like my friends who are white back in the States. It's a different group of people. I'm going to be honest with you. I still, I don't put anything past anyone. But my friends in the States, they're white. However, it's a different generation of people. They approach me differently. And I relate to people on how you relate to me. I don't relate to you on how your granddaddy related to me. I don't do that. I give everybody their own fair shake, including Nigerians, just to throw that in there. Everybody gets their own fair shake. But when you cross that line, I'm like, can't do it. I just can't do it. So I was really hurt and saddened, like really saddened. There were a lot of Koreans are like, woohoo, tsunami. Like, you can hear people on the street talking about, like, you hear the word tsunami and you see a smile on their face. And I'm like, what the blippity blip? If I was a cursor, geez, I would curse everybody out. Like, these old people are they have their little onions and things they're selling, and they're talking to each other. Tsunami. Like, they're happy about it. And I'm still trying to wrap my mind around, how could you be happy that a group of people have lost hundreds of thousands of loved ones? Because at the end of the day, it's about love. Even animals love one another. When one animal dies, the other animals gather around, and you can see the somberness. So how can one human being see the tragedy of another human being and it's all good in the hood? What? No, that's not a good thing. That's not victory for you. Number one, you did not make the tsunami or the earthquake happen. Sorry, Koreans swear out that they just can control the world. No, you didn't make that happen. And yes, you're hurt. And I understand. Because of the color of my skin, even from my own, I still pay for that past. It's not that far past. But I choose not to live in it, and I choose not to be a victim of it, and I choose not to allow that to determine where I'm going and how I treat others. And I just am totally blown away. Totally blown away. There are pastors who are over here, God's vengeance. What? Okay, in the Old Testament, Bible study really quick. In the Old Testament, God was a God of vengeance. There were wars that people were. Anytime you affected his kids, he was like an angry mom, like, what are you doing? Calm it down. But it was after warning. It was after the opportunity to repent came, and that was rejected. And it was before Jesus Christ. After the risen Savior, you will not find any place in the Bible where God wiped anyone out. Like, because there was, that is the whole point of Jesus Christ. So God does not have to wipe anybody out. Everybody, regardless of race, color, creed, Jewish, non-Jewish, Jew, Gentile, it doesn't matter. You have the right to the tree of life and to have a purpose-filled life. That is your right. That is your God-given right. So because of that, God has not wiped anyone out, because there's now a martyr. There was the ultimate martyr. Jesus Christ died for you. So I'm trying to figure out how these schooled and seminary pastors are standing in these pulpits preaching, this is what they get. This is God's vengeance. Hoorah, God. Thanks for standing up for us. What? Talk about long interpretation of the word. And that, my friends, is why people don't want to have anything to do with religion, because people say off the wall stuff like that in the pulpit that is not biblically sound, nor is it on behalf of God, but they're stating it as fact as if it's on behalf of God. And if I was a non-believer and I heard a preacher talking like that, I wouldn't want to, find anything more about the God who just wiped out an entire country. I wouldn't want to do that. Same thing happened with Haiti. oh, that's God, blah, blah, blah. Listen, yes, God allows things to happen to take, to get your attention, to build a platform for his glory. Yes, absolutely. Does God say, I think I'll wipe out an entire country today? No. No, that is not the heart of God for us. But he can use those situations as a platform. So God didn't make the tsunami happen. God didn't make the earthquake happen. God made the universe. God made the world. And the things that happen in it are a cause of what has been put into motion. The plates shifted. God didn't shift the plates. The plates shifted underneath the water, which caused the vibrations, which caused the wave, and the wave therefore made its way to, it was out in the ocean. The wave was just going on its own momentum, and Japan was there and hit it. It was not, God did not say, there you go, Japan, sucks for you because you had a war against Korea. It's not how that went down. Although that's how people are trying to make it here in Korea. When I tell you these streets are hip-hop and happy, it is kind of scary. It's kind of freaky to know that these people are really excited. But then I guess that's kind of how it was in Iraq and Iran and other places when 9/11 happened. Like, woohoo, America's hurt because they've been hurting us for years. I'm not justifying what they did, but I can say that I understand. So it's kind of weird to be around at a time like this. I'm thankful that I'm alive. It's a little weird to see it. Of course, this is not all Koreans. I actually spoke with Opa on the other night, and he's probably going to beat me up for saying this, but he was genuinely, like, genuinely hurt as a human. He was literally like, I cannot believe that. I mean, he was hurt. I mean, it was genuine hurt and sincere. I wish I could do more for you. Like, emotional. And that's the response that humans should have for other human lives. Not this, woo, I can't even fathom that. So and he was telling me there was an argument in the knife community, which obviously you guys know he's a knife dealer. So if you need knives, hit him up. By the way, he's Voodoo Childs on we're friends, subscriber people. In the knife community is a split. Like, people were woohoo, and then other people were like, what? They share our same sky. They're human. So that's crazy. It's really crazy. So anyway, this video is getting long, and I feel like I went off on a rant about the unfortunate things. So yes, I'm very thankful, and I actually am taking a flight on Friday, Thursday night, Friday, one of those, to go do missions work there. So I will be out there doing whatever I can. So I'm off to Japan, so you'll have some footage from there. I'm flying into the non-affected as bad. They felt the quake, but they didn't have the tsunami because they were far enough inland. So I'm going to a non-water subdued part, and then we will go to the other part. And I don't know how extensive I'm going to whatever my hands are needed to do. So I don't know if we're actually going to be there and like picking up debris, looking for people. I don't know if we're going to be passing off. I don't know what we're going to be doing, but I'm totally like down for the cause and whatever they need to do. I can't stay long because I have to work on Sunday, but yeah, I'm going to go help out this country that welcomed me. And I feel all the more like I have to go. Because when I was there, like, it was a wonderful break from Korea. No one, I'm trying not to cry. No one pointed at me. No one belittled me as if I didn't understand what they were saying. I don't speak Korean, but I understand Korean. And some days it can be really tough to live here. And not as a foreigner, but as a black person, it can be extremely tough because it is like 1950s U.S. here. But I know that God called me here. I know that there's a plan for me here. So I tough it out, and I try and make the best of it. And I will continue to do that. I refuse to be bitter about anyone. So to leave from a country where I'm pretty much a dog. I'm a talking dog, pretty much. To leave from that, and not with everybody, with enough of them, with the majority. To leave from that, from the pointing and the laughing and the snickering and the staring and the petting and the, the poking, to leave from that, to go to a country where I was completely human, not a dog, not a talking dog, completely human, and saw as human and embraced as human. And people said, excuse me, oh, sorry, you know, no shoving, no pushing, no, none of that. It was completely polite, it was clean, they were welcoming, you know, people. The men were totally like, ooh, like, let's take you out to dinner, how long are you in town? Like, to know I was there a couple hours and now it's nothing. This video is really long, sorry. I have to go. I have to go. There's no way that that short amount of time could have made that much of an impact on my life and I not go to help. So yeah, I'm rolling out to go. So I will post about that, of course, and I will have video from my phone because now I have one. Yay! I can take you guys with me, like I said. So yeah, yeah, that's this video. I didn't really have a title going into this one, so I didn't really have anything specific to talk about, but this is what came out. So I hope you guys have a great day, and love the people you're around, regardless of their color, regardless of where they're from, regardless of their background. Just love them. Just love them for being people. Find something good in them. There's good in everyone. There is literally good in everyone. So look for the good. Look for the, even if it's a very, very small part, focus on that. Focus on that and just treat them as humans. They're still humans. You don't have to, you know, marry them. You don't have to have, you know, monthly, weekly outings with them. I'm not saying that, but love them as humans. The people around you, regardless of color, race, or creed. Okay? So, peace out. I'm sorry I didn't leave on a high note. I saddened my own self. Sorry. But I will try and get myself together and then come back with a small vid about Japan.